What's going on, everyone? Cacao Games had a live stream just the other day where they revealed the Ruby shop for Elyon, which they're still looking to release sometime early this fall. Now, at a first look with it, it's a very good change that they've made with the Ruby shop, and they did a great job westernizing it overall. Alongside that, though, there were various elements of gameplay design that were in the Korean version of the game that contributed to multiple layers of pay to win influence that have just simply flat out been removed from our version of the game. And we'll talk a little bit about some of those as we go through this. But let's break down this article. We're just mainly going to touch on the elements that were pay to win and some that might, still be considered pay to win. And we're just going to break those things down for all of you. So the Ruby shop, that is the cash shop. The rubies are going to be 1,000 rubies for $10 or €10, with free bonus rubies granted for higher purchases. That's very standard, typical of, pretty much any MMO with cash shops in them at all. When buying the currency, you get bonus amounts for larger purchases. Now, the first one, that is a system removal that had the most influence on the game, and the reason why it's so impactful that this one is gone partly is because of their change for the auction house. The auction house is now a set price system like it is in BDO. If you watched Kira TV's video recently, he brought up a lot of really good points about why he didn't like the change for the auction house. The biggest one, though, being that the game currently in Korea did have the gears currency, and this would have, all the change to the auction house really did would have just forced players to buy gold relentlessly through the company. Well, for now at least, the gear currency has been completely removed from the game, so people are no longer able to buy rubies, which you then bought gears and then directly sold those gear currency for gold. And that is how a lot of people just, gave themselves paramount amount of gold without using any sort of third-party systems or anything like that. It is still unfortunate that the auction house is a set price one, in the manner of that, it's one of the ways that they're trying to battle RMT, but it does unfortunately remove a lot of that player-to-player element, that interaction with the world and the player base, being able to trade to your friends or help them out with gear if they're new to the game and you've already been playing for a while. It eliminates a lot of that, and that's part of what, also makes BDO at times feel like it's more like a single player game. Elyon fortunately does have a few group environment based, group activities in the game, but overall, some of the changes with this have made it a little bit more single player, in the sense of, removing that player to player interaction and the economy of trading like that. One of the concerns about it is the crafting, right? So if crafting's going to just be, if everything's going to be just a set price on the auction house, the crafting is now very, very much so kind of like, well, what's the point? No matter who makes it, no matter what makes it, it's always going to be the same price. There's no real rush on trying to get out or get ahead in the crafting system of the game, because you're not going to be able to do anything with it. You won't be able to have a priority selling, or being the first one to have it out so that you can put a more premium price on it. It's really just, well, no matter who makes it, it's going to be the same cost. So that's going to be, one of those things that is unfortunate. But hopefully overall it plays out as something that ends up being a much more positive part of the game experience. Removal of the gear currency was also, there was another separate shop that was gear currency that allowed you to get luminous or enhancing materials. So removal of the gear currency overall is a huge removal of, the amount of possible swiping that people were able to do in Korea. As such, they've introduced the loyalty system. The loyalty system is very much so like BDO's loyalty system. You log in, you get some loyalty tokens. You're able to use those loyalty tokens once you build them up to buy stuff. They're really basic things, and you can only get loyalty with logging in. You cannot get them with real money, but it's just basic things like, inventory, Luminous pet expansion slots, gold, XP, loot drop, scrolls, etc. Those sort of basic things. The items that have been left that will be, these are the things that some people will be considering pay to win. Some people will consider them convenience. Is, the fact that there will be storage, inventory stuff sold on the marketplace still, as well as the Star's Blessing, which is basically your VIP or patron, whatever. It's your optional sub. But it's basically, the value pack from BDO. You get 10% XP, item drop, AP recovery, additional laurel wreath currency, which is another currency in game that has a very limited amount of stuff on it that you can buy, and they have daily limits on them, so it's not super impactful, but it is nice. And just, inventory space, storage space. So in a game where you have limited bag space, it is, people aren't going to like that they have to pay to increase their bag size. In a game where you do a lot of farming, that's just another one of those things that, you have people who say, oh, it's convenience, oh, it's pay to win. You guys, you can decide that for yourself. Everybody has their own definition of it. Here's a list of some of the items that they have for loyalty, as well as how much they cost. The pet system, I will talk about the pet system with the Luminous system once we get down to it. Outfits are going to be anywhere from 1,500 to 2,200 rubies. So that's really nice. Alongside that, mounts are going to be about 1,000 rubies, wingsuits, hoverboards, etc. Cosmetic stuff, emotes, whatever, all these things are going to be on the cash shop. Mounts do have, the ones that you buy do have a very, very, very small move speed increase, 4% increase to move speed and 6% to dash speed. It's not super impactful, but it is there, and it's just something that people, I know it's something people are going to bring up and complain about. So, it's one of those things where it is there no matter what. It doesn't matter how small of a thing it is. If it has impact, people are going to care about it. That being said, you do get one for free from the game later on, but that's not until level 47. So that's a little bit down the road. Now, the Luminous change. Okay. Well, and then we're going to talk about the pet one here as well with it. The pets are not as impactful, but the Luminous are still very much so impactful. Luminous has been completely reworked for our version. The first thing to note about Luminous is that one of the largest pay-to-win systems that was implemented into Korea was the Luminous collection system. And that was this. If you played on Korea at all, you know what this thing is, and you know that it is very, very influential. Basically, instead of you just needing one Luminous that you can have out that influences your power, right? This was a system where you took multiple Luminous, got them to 5 stars, and slotted them into this collection tree to get a bunch of additional stats outside of the one that you also have summoned. And so it was a very large power scaling element, and naturally with, one of the primary ways of acquiring Luminous in the game is through the cash shop. It just heavily influenced people to swipe their credit card in order to max out their multiple Luminous, in order to fill out their star chart, their collection chart, whatever, as quickly as possible. That, gone. This is one of the things completely removed. It's not going to be put into our version. So that is a very good thing. That being said, Luminous is still going to be on the cash shop for 500 rubies, so about $5. Now, some changes about that is that they have removed the RNG elements to Luminous. So Luminous in Korea, if you bought a Luminous box, it was RNG in terms of what kind of Luminous you got from it. All right. They have eliminated that, and you will be able to directly buy which color or constellation combination you would like to buy and have for your Luminous pet. What that means is you basically get to choose what stats the Luminous is going to give you instead of it being completely random. So while it is still going to be on the shop in some format, they are removing any of the RNG element to it. Alongside that, Luminous was previously an RNG, still it is somewhat an RNG upgrade system. However, when you upgraded it previously, it was undecided or random in terms of which Luminous you got. You had no idea what it was going to be. Whatever you upgraded, it was completely random what it could upgrade to, and it would change, etc., things like that. And it just wasn't a fun system, and that's part of what made people spend so much money, was because of how RNG it was. Alongside that, they have eliminated the process of when you try to infuse your Luminous to upgrade it. It will no longer, when it fails, your primary Luminous will not be destroyed, but as such, the secondary Luminous that you are fusing into it do not give you the recovery shards anymore. And the reason for that is because they have introduced a system where if you use extra Luminous, it allows you to 100% upgrade it. So they have implemented a way to guarantee the enhancing of your Luminous to upgrade it. So a T1, and you try to infuse it with a second T1, it gives you a 50% chance for it to upgrade to a T2. However, if you use a third T1 Luminous, it 100% guarantees your Luminous upgrade. And so that makes it a guaranteed T2. Now, the part of this where it gets, I'm sure many of you are already thinking, well, can't you just buy the Luminous? Well, yeah, I mean, assuming there is no daily limitation on purchasing or weekly limit on purchasing, or there is just no limit on purchasing Luminous, essentially somebody really could just swipe a Luminous from T1 all the way to T5 in the first day, and that would be a very, a relatively strong boost because of the amount of stats and rune points that a Luminous can give you. And it comes out to around $400 to take a Luminous from T1 to T5 if you just swipe the entire way for it. So, that is something that is obviously there and be aware of. And, you're going to be able to see this in the second beta. So definitely take a look at it, give the feedback on it. That being said, you would not need to spend that money because there are various ways to get Luminous in-game as well. This is where, some people will just say it's pay to progress faster and that kind of thing, because you are going to be guaranteed to get there as well. It's just going to take you longer kind of thing. The game itself has Luminous that you get from quests, from dungeons. They're in the dungeon loot table, from login rewards, things like that, other in-game activities, other in-game shop systems. There are ways to get Luminous. And so, you do not need to spend the money on a Luminous. It just might take you a few more weeks to get to a T5 Luminous for somebody who, if they really want to, can just, swipe a few $100s day one, assuming there's no restriction on purchasing, and they could have a T5 Luminous right away. So that is something definitely to be aware of, give feedback on, etc. But it's the same thing for the pet system. Pets really just pick up loot for you. They don't have any like combat influence kind of things. And so your pets, unlike the Luminous, you just need 2 T1 pets to upgrade 100% chance. They don't require you to have a third one or anything like that. So a T1 pet with another T1 pet is a 100% chance to T2 all the way up. So that is the summary of the systems that have been changed, as well as the introduction of the Ruby shop. Overall, it is exponentially better than what the Korean shop was, which was selling the Luminous, again, were just complete RNG boxes, alongside there being enhancing materials and a bunch of other stuff in there, as well as these special events which had like really heavy pay to win element enhancements inside them. So overall, this is a very good change for the game, and it is a very much so a positive direction for it from what Korea was doing. So, it's just, this is good. That's all I can really say about it. It's a good thing overall. It is definitely an improvement. Obviously, there are still going to be things that people have problems with, but, it's like BDO, like Arcage, like Blade and Soul, whatever it is, it's up to you really to decide whether or not it's going to be worth it for you to play the game. I'm going to enjoy the launch of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. The gameplay, the combat of it is definitely a game I really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to it. And the change to the Ruby system really just helps reaffirm my interest in playing the game overall. So looking forward to it. Hope to see you guys in game, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.